In 2024, off the coast of South Africa, a single orca killed a great white shark. No pod, no coordinated attack. From first contact to liver extraction, under 2 minutes. The great white sharks in that area didn't come back for months. Not days. Months! The apex predator of popular imagination has a flee response. This video is about what it's running from and why the Romans named it after the god of the dead 2,000 years before any scientist studied it. If you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. Let's get into it. You thought it was the shark. Everything pointed that way. The decades of films, the music, the fin cutting the surface, the statistics about teeth. The entire cultural architecture of ocean fear was constructed around a single animal, and it was the wrong one. The orca. Orcinus. Orca has no natural predators. Zero. Not one animal in any ocean, on any coastline, in any documented case, hunts an adult orca. The great white shark, the sperm whale, the leopard seal. Every apex predator in the ocean either avoids orcas or becomes their prey. There is no tier above them. There is nothing that looks at an orca and sees food. Consider the scale. An adult male grows to 32 feet, nearly 10 meters, and weighs up to 22,000 pounds. They move at 35 miles per hour. A newborn orca weighs as much as a motorbike. They live in every ocean on Earth, from Arctic ice to tropical waters, the most widely distributed marine mammal on the planet. And they operate in coordinated social groups, pods, that hunt with a level of tactical sophistication that researchers have spent decades trying to fully document. What makes them dangerous is not their size. Size is just physics. What makes them dangerous is what happens between their ears. In March 2009, a pod of approximately 12 orcas was documented killing an adult blue whale off the southwestern coast of Australia. This was not a small event. The blue whale is the largest animal that has ever existed on Earth, larger than any dinosaur, larger than anything in the fossil record. An adult blue whale can reach 100 feet in length and weigh nearly 200 tons. The orcas killed it in approximately 1 hour. The method was documented by a marine ecologist at Oregon State University's Marine Mammal Institute, who described the strategy in detail. The pod coordinated to exhaust the whale, pushing it, harassing it, forcing it below the surface repeatedly to prevent it from breathing. A sustained, organized, deliberately executed campaign against an animal 4 times their size. This was the first documented orca kill of an adult blue whale. It would not be the last. In the months and years that followed, additional incidents were confirmed. The behavior had not been a fluke. It was a capability, one that orcas had either always possessed or recently developed and were now deploying. If you've never heard that orcas hunt blue whales, stay with me, because the next part of what they do gets more precise, not less. The great white shark requires different treatment. For decades, the great white was the default answer to what is the most dangerous predator in the ocean. The cultural weight of that reputation is enormous, built over a half-century of documented attacks, media coverage, and the particular terror that something large-toothed and cold-eyed hunting in your blind spot produces. Orcas have a technique specifically designed for sharks. They flip them upside down. This is not metaphor. It is a documented, repeatable, teachable hunting behavior. When a shark is inverted, held upside down, it enters a state called tonic immobility, a coma-like paralysis. The animal that was, seconds ago, one of the ocean's most formidable predators becomes completely still and unresisting. Researchers observing a pod in the Gulf of California, a group documented in scientific literature, watch them execute this technique with precision, locate the shark, coordinate the approach, flip it, induce immobility, extract the liver, and leave the carcass. The liver is the target because it is enormously nutrient-dense, rich in the oils that deep-diving marine mammals require. The orcas don't eat the whole shark. They take the organ they need and leave the rest. That 2024 event, a single orca operating alone, killed a great white shark near Mossel Bay, South Africa. No pod coordination, no prolonged pursuit. From first contact to liver extraction, under 2 minutes. A behavior that had previously been documented only in coordinated, multi-animal attacks was executed perfectly by one animal, alone, in less time than it takes to make coffee. A team of researchers publishing in the African Journal of Marine Science documented what happened next. Great white sharks, tracked by telemetry, their movements recorded in real time, left the area, not for a day, not for a week. Individual sharks were absent for months. The water, where they had hunted for years, became, functionally, orca territory. The apex predator of popular imagination has a flea response. Here is the part nobody expected. The orcas didn't just do these things. They taught them. Orca hunting strategies are not instinct. They are culture. Techniques developed by one individual or one pod, spread through observation, through practice, to what researchers at the University of Washington describe as social learning in animals with an incredibly complex and highly evolved brain. Adult orcas teach juvenile orcas. The students become teachers. The technique propagates. In Antarctica, this produced something marine biologists called wave washing. Groups of orcas coordinate to create synchronized waves, moving in formation, diving together at precise intervals. Generating a wave large enough to wash prey off floating ice flows directly into the water below. The geometry of it is deliberate. The timing is deliberate. It is a learned technique, passed between generations, documented across decades of fieldwork. But what the Romans understood before any of this was written down is this: Orcanus, of the kingdom of the dead. They named this animal for the underworld, not because of what it looked like, because of what it left behind. There is no ocean predator that challenges the orca. There is no hunting strategy beyond their demonstrated capability. There is no prey category, from herring to blue whales, from sea lions to great white sharks, that exists outside their menu. They are not the most feared animal in the ocean because the ocean made them fearsome. They are the most feared because everything else in the ocean has already learned to fear them. Subscribe. The next video covers what happens when the most intelligent ocean predator decides that humans and our boats are interesting. So here is what the documented record shows. The great white shark, the animal that carried 50 years of ocean fear, abandons coastlines when orcas arrive. Not cautiously, completely, for months. The largest animal that has ever lived on Earth has been hunted and killed by coordinated orca pods. And in 2024, a single orca killed a great white shark, alone, in under 2 minutes. A capability that rewrote what researchers believed was possible. These are not random acts of nature. They are strategies, developed, refined, and culturally transmitted across generations of animals with brains complex enough to teach what they have learned. Orcanus orca, of the kingdom of the dead. The Romans named them 2,000 years ago, before any of this was documented, and they named them correctly. Sharks or orcas? Which one actually deserved the fear? Tell me what you thought before this video, and what you think now. I want to know in the comments. The ocean has an apex predator. It was never the one you feared.